going. Just kidding. Hi everyone, so this is TouchDesigner YVR March edition. We're like way past 1 year now. This is like easy for us. Kind of. I think I launched the poster 2 days ago, which we could have done it earlier, but had fun with it. So yeah, we've got a bunch of presentations today. Chris will be the first that's set up here. And who else is presenting today? Greg. And Jenna, you're going to present?
No.
No? Oh, okay. You have a 20-minute slot, so you'll have to figure something out. So, and then I'll present a little bit of something, and then also if anyone has a laptop and just wants to share anything, like if it touches on your related or not, you're also welcome to come up afterwards. So usually I do a little intro for the people who haven't been here before, but I'm so tired of doing that intro. ZSpace, this building's 120 years old. We've been around for 10 years. We'll be celebrating in May. That was in the other room. But this room, I know, right? This room we've had for over a year. And our plan is to take over the world and Vancouver and just build more excitement here and hopefully attract more funding and all that. Yeah, and this group started out as a study group a long time ago, and then now we do project presentations and all that. And so the first thing we usually end up doing is we go around and we do introductions, where each of us has a chance to introduce ourselves and talk about what we do. So we'll start here, and then we'll go, oh, I don't know, let's go like that, and then that, and like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Like snake.
Like a snake?
Huh?
Like a snake.
Like a snake? Like a year of a snake? Yeah, it's good.
Hi everyone, my name is Eamon. I'm an architectural designer in a bit of a rut. So I am in a mode of just trying lots of things. I love computational design and video games and theater, so a lot of things that happen in this space that sort of intersect my distinct ways. And yeah, I've been really excited about TouchDesigner. Looking forward to getting my role.
Hey, I'm Nico. I do some animation and motion graphics stuff. I have a little bit of experience with DJing. And I've always been curious about touch design, so see what it's all about.
My name is Alexander. I guess I'm a game designer, working for an indie studio that I find boring. I want to meet more weird people who do stuff like this.
They came to the right place.
Here people go. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Vaden, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. Hi, I'm just working in my own little world here. My name's Vaden, I'm in AI, and yeah, I just do like general modeling kind of stuff, and didn't know there was an event today. Well, sorry for being
We probably should have put up the calendar.
Yeah, no, I should.
I'm Lane Butler. I'm an audiovisual artist and a touch designer, and I think this event is really cool. I'm Greg. I am an educational game programmer, and I dabble in TouchDesigner for completely unrelated purposes, but have some skills I bring across. So I'm going to show projects that I did earlier for our monthly prompts that we've been doing as part of YVR. So yeah.
Hi, my name's Alyssa. I've got a very similar background to Eamon, and I make a lot of audio-visual art with TouchDesigner, and we have a show coming up on Friday evening in East Vancouver at this little underground spot called the Deli. So I might put the poster up later on if you guys are like coming and checking it out. Should be fun. Julian is performing, as well as myself, my friend Bronwyn, and then IEO and Jonny Ostrem and his crew as well. And we just found out that Michelle and Apple of IEO got accepted to MUTEC and will be performing at MUTEC this year. So if you guys are interested in like AV stuff
exhibition that's going to be up on the 30th at Roundhouse, and there's going to be a little touch designer things involved as well. So yeah, so I just wanted to come check it out. Yeah. Cool.
I'm Jason. I did some of the study club posters. I'm a UBC visual art student, and I'm really into making visual art with touch design, interactive or just kind of graphics.
I'm Jonny. I forget. I'll talk about it.
So hi everyone, I'm Arvind, and I'm how do I call myself? I think I'm into marketing and business management, and pretty much do everything inside it. We usually work with fashion, and this just sparks. You all just sparked my brain cell a lot, so I'm good.
Hi everyone, I'm Ian. I'm a 3D artist, I guess. Also like being very open, exploring things. I also have a background in architecture. I did my bachelor's in it. And yeah, I look forward to the project.
Hi, my name is Trian. I'm a student at SFU, at School of American Arts and Technology, my last year. I'm a new media nerd. I like to tinker, touch designer.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm a computer science student at UBC, and I'm doing a project with IM4 Labs using hopefully TouchDesigner, but I know nothing about it right now, and so that's why I'm here to meet all of you.
Hi everyone, my name is Ari. My background is in UI UX design. I actually also went to SFU.
Did you?
I did. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I actually don't really, I guess, care about UI UX anymore, to be honest. I gravitate more towards visual design, and kind of like brand design, figuring that stuff out. I don't know anything about touch design, but it's all over my Instagram, and it looks really cool. So I'm just here to learn more about it.
My name's Tom, motion designer. I've been straddling the line between like touch designer and Houdini for a little while, and just trying to figure out what I can do with both of them. But yeah, I find it's really interesting as a visual sandbox. That's what I like to describe touch design as. It's good to be here.
Hi, I'm Amin. I'm motion designer and 3D artist. Recently, I accepted a project like 30 minutes of video projection, and I did it with traditional tool, and it was so tedious and tiring. So I did some research. I saw that people using TouchDesigner for this kind of stuff, so I'm here to learn about it. Yeah.
Cool. Hey everyone, I'm Josh. I work in immersive spaces. I make trade show booth shit and sometimes really cool museum installation stuff. I'm doing a lot of stuff with TouchDesigner and Unreal. We're making this really cool project right now for a quantum physicist exposition thing in Germany. It's going to be like a mirrored room with fractal displays that represent the, I guess, like computations of quantum computers. It's so nerdy and cool.
Thanks.
And it's fun, yeah.
Awesome. I was going to say one thing, which is that raise your hand if you're involved in game design in some way. You over there? Because we also have another event that happens here called IndiePod. It's all indie game developers, and they're actually in the other room. And there's like 15 people every week on Wednesdays. So yeah, just so you know, there are other events here that work on that. I really can't remember anything I was going to say there. I had another comment, but let's just skip it. And yeah, so now it is Chris. Let's make sure it's recording correctly, and it is. Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Chris. I have been using TouchDesigner for like 7 years now. I got my bachelor's in animation at Emily Carr, and I got a master's in multimedia creation for live shows in Spain. And I work at Emily Carr as a technician in the animation department, and
I don't really do much animation anymore. I do more touch design stuff, and like Arduino, and like motors, and like moving sculptures, and light art, and stuff like that. Because I don't like being limited to just a screen. I like to break out from that. But today I'm just going to be talking about screen stuff. So I'm going to talk about reaction diffusion, which is my favorite like effect in TouchDesigner because it's like so easy, yet it can be so versatile and fun. And then I'll also go like over my VJ setup that I use to format shows, and we'll see what happens from there. Okay, so this is like, oh, it's starting a little bit. That's okay. This is like the reaction diffusion that I use within my VJ patch, but I just wanted to like go and strip it down to just what you need just for the reaction diffusion, and it's, ignore these, it's just these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 nodes, and then this one I'll turn on later. Who's familiar with reaction diffusion? Used it before? A couple hands. Yeah? Nice, nice. We love it, don't we? Only I do. But reaction diffusion is like based off of like how substances, two different substances combine at like a molecular level. So it's kind of based in science, which is interesting. And luckily we can kind of recreate that effect with pixels. And I'll get into that. So starting is like a noise. It's like the seed. We only really need like one frame of it. So it doesn't really need to do anything except be there. And then next is the start of a feedback loop. Feedback, if you're not familiar, is like, you know, if you've ever pointed a camera at the screen that it's like currently recording to and you get like the tunnel effect. I also am a big fan of that effect because it just opens so many different doors of mind-bending reality. But feedback is like the start of this like internal loop that we're going to be creating. And then the bulk of it, of the reaction diffusion is one blur, and then another blur, and then taking the difference between those blurs and then using a level to like up the brightness and contrast, and then that just creates a system that will just kind of, if I hit that, it just grows by itself. I'm not doing anything. It's all the feedback. And this isn't really doing very much except kind of growing. But if we start to like fiddle with it a little bit, my favorite thing is to use a transform. And the transform will be moving one of the blurs. And so like, okay, so this background is making it actually kind of hard to see what's happening. So the one blur and two blur are going into this comp with a subtract. And by moving one of the blurs before it goes into the comp node, we can do different things to have a good time with the results. I'm just gonna put this on view. Oh my God, it's huge. Excuse me. I actually don't really like using the like window within TouchDesigner very much. Like when you make a new pane, I'm not that kind of guy. I like using the view. Just so you know, so if you're wondering why I'm doing this rather than something else, now you know. So if we just hit that, it's doing its thing. And I'm gonna turn on this transform. I'm gonna like, oh, I'm covering up my properties here. If I just like hit the rotate here. And all I'm doing is doing a rotate. That's it. And so it just starts making this really interesting shape. Now, we got other transforms that we can use. We got translate, we got scale. I really like scale, so I'm just gonna slowly increase this. But what it's really interesting is decreasing it so that we go sub 1. More and further, and then if we go and like change the scale.
Can you imagine if Asher was still alive?
And I'm just fiddling this with like my mouse. If we go to my actual patch up here, you can see there's a lot more things going on. So I have this control panel on my iPad using TouchOSC. Using this, I can make it move in lots of different ways. If it will cooperate, yes, it is cooperating for the most part. And like with this iPad, I can get like a very fun and responsive thing that I can just like curate to the music really quickly and really fluidly. And like Reaction Fusion, since it's always just kind of like goopy, I call this goopy because it's really goopy. It like kind of fills in the gaps of like, you know, moving from one thing to another. And if I'm not touching, it's still doing something. So it's a really good way to like fill in empty space when you just like want to set the vibe. And if I go back and, well, now I can show you, we got the same like starting nodes here. So we got the feedback, the blur, the composite, and the transform. But you can see I have a bunch of other stuff here too. These things here, this is just to bring in the signals from my iPad using TouchOSC. Here, if we look here, this is just to get like a nice little chromatic aberration. I can turn that off, so it goes back to black and white. Turn that back on. I also have, what is this called? I also have an overlay. It's kind of subtle. If I get it to stop moving so much. Okay. So I have an overlay that's using like a, it's up here. So I have different modes of overlay using like displace. So we can see like this is, I'm using this noise to displace, what am I displacing? This stuff over here. So I'm displacing that, and kind of, and using these blocks here as like a mat to kind of like make interesting shapes, so it's not just all this googly mess. And it's a bit subtle, I admit, but I like subtlety. I don't like things that are too loud.
This isn't loud?
Well, you know.
I can't hear you louder.
But yeah, that's why I like this effect. It's just, and I have other things going on too. Some of these come from tutorials like from, I should have brought those up before I started this, but this is not all just like from my amazing brain. There's like a million Reaction to Fusion tutorials online, just like the basic one that I just ran through really quickly, and then like more advanced ones that are using this stuff down here, using slopes to create like kind of like a ballooning effect. So if I go down a little bit. 0, 0, 0. So you see how it's kind of like ballooning in interesting ways. That's from a tutorial I followed. You can kind of see that it's following these sloping shapes here. Now if I turn that off, sometimes my iPad doesn't like to send its signals. So there's lots of versatility in this. You can make it look a lot of different ways. This is like the first effect that I learned when I was starting with TouchDesigner, and I'm still using it because it's so much fun. And then I guess I can talk about the rest of my VJ patch. So going up further once again. So here's my VJ patch. Here, let's get rid of my background top. It's fine. Okay layout. I'm sure we've seen worse ones, but we've almost seen better ones. I am using a thing called Scene Changer, which I believe is in the palette, to like switch between my different things, my different scenes. I just turn that back on. Display, background tops. And what I have is that I have a lot of things just going through my iPad, so I can switch. There we go. This is a cloth sim, just like with the texture applied to a lot of overlapping meshes, with the spring effect on them. Then if we go back over here, this is another thing that I've been using for probably too long. This is just a noise with some displacement, and that's about it. That's all. Very, very simple. But I like the way it looks, so I keep using it. Over here is some voids. We love voids. Voids using like a GLSL feedback loop that I used following a tutorial. Very fun. I really find entrancing like murmurations of birds. You know, like when birds fly in a big flock and they like change direction almost simultaneously, and they make these incredible shapes in the sky. I find voids a really interesting way to like try and recreate that. I really enjoy using nature as like a point of inspiration, because like nature is like the ultimate thing of beauty, and so we try and make these facilities of digital beauty, but still beautiful. Switching back over here. No. See, my iPad is not cooperating, or as, yeah. This is more feedback. I love feedback. Feedback with some sharpen to get that like really grainy look. And then like a dozen blending modes. Going back this way. This is just some overlapping tubes. Nothing too exciting. If I speed it up. And you know, it's so interesting to look at a VJ patch without any music. No, it's fine.
Do you work on them with music?
When I'm just making like an individual patch, I'm just like working in silence. I don't actually like listening to music that much.
In general?
For silence.
So like when I'm working, I guess I do kind of work in silence a lot. But you know, working at shows, I love to hear like live music. Live music is really fun and interesting and cool to like make a visual experience too. Also just like hearing what's around me. That sounds so like wanky. I swear I'm more interested in this. I listen to music. But I kind of like make my patches in a way so that they can adapt to whatever music that I'm like, you know, VJing for. It's not always like a one size fits all, except for Goopy. Goopy can do it all. It can go really quickly, it can go really smoothly and slow. It has lots of fun and interesting things it can do. So like right now, nice and slow, but if I were to speed it up a little bit, you get like a lot of like really quick and fast like movements. I can match it to almost like any kind of genre. That's another reason why I like it. Now I'm just kind of rambling. Ooh. Oh, I can also go over like my little. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, and I have to touch upon one of my favorite things. I really like this effect called pixel sort. And actually, I need to change the blending mode on this. So when I'm VJing, I have these controls up. So this is like the blending modes for you know, all the ones that I can choose. This is another one from the palette. The palette is just like a group of like pre-made node packages that you can just bring into your project really easily. If you are not familiar, this is just like the VJ mixer, something like that. And I like to use it. It's nice and easy. And I've kind of hacked it to work with my iPad as well. That's not hacking. TouchDesigner lets you change anything, which is great. But I just wanted to change to a more interesting blending mode so that we can have some more visual interest. So now I'm going to turn on one of my like effects. And will this work? Yes, but I need to change to something that's a bit more slow. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I agree.
How's that looking? Do I have the right thing? So if we turn that down. Hold on.
Oh, because you need audio reactive.
Okay. Looks better when it's not over top the TouchDesigner checkerboard. So yeah, this is a pixel sort that I just am in love with because you get these really beautiful like trails of pixels, and I don't think it's like a true pixel sort algorithm, but it's faking it pretty good in a way that I like.
It's like the displacement of the background, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like one of my favorite ways to interact with patches is just to let it do its thing. Like I'm not doing anything, it's making something really nice to look at. And that's kind of like my direction of creating patches. What can I just make and let loose on the world, and it will make interesting things. and I think I do that on at least a semi-regular basis. And then
Is
if
there
I
any feature like you can use the actual song for controlling like scale or
absolutely, yeah. There's several different ways to bring in a song, or like a live feed from a DJ, or just like using a mic to bring in audio data that you can use to drive different parameters. It's not something I do very often because I find like live music, like live audio signals, it's a lot of data and computers are kind of slow with it, and it's hard to make it really snappy, and I'm always looking for the very, very snappy reaction time. So I just get kind of frustrated with it, even though I know people can do it really well, but I prefer just to do it with physical manipulation. Keep myself from rambling any further. Are there any like questions? What's up?
What's a void?
A void?
Yeah.
A void, we go into that patch. So a void, as I understand it, is using pixels as vectors, and then using feedback to change that vector. Where is it? Here.
Is it using like a pre-baked particle system, or is it doing it just with GLSL and feedback?
It's doing it with GLSL and feedback.
Cool. So it's like it is a particle system, but you have like control of all the depths. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And again, I didn't make this. I just followed a tutorial. I'm not that smart, but I like taking what other people have made, and well, I think we all do that to a degree. Because like TouchDesigner is such a hard thing to learn by yourself. You got to look to others that have walked before you to make things.
It is crazy to me that the tutorial, the learning kind of like community of TouchDesigner is so open.
Yeah.
With, like the really high level like lessons and tutorials that normally with like Houdini or like 3D C4D, you have to pay like a lot of money to go get that kind of knowledge.
Absolutely. Yeah, like everyone is so open with what they're sharing, and it's like really such a nice community, and we're extending that community here, which I love. Thank you, Johnny, so much for this space. But yeah, so like all of these voids are being driven by these pixels and this like feedback group, and then those are driving the instances in this geo, and then I'm doing some stuff on top of that to make it look like what you see up there. Yeah. Any other questions?
What's the app you're using on your iPad?
Oh, this is Touch OSC. I think Alyssa uses it as well, but she's smart and has a physical cord connecting her computer and iPad. Because I'm just using this little Wi-Fi router. It's like a travel router. So I can have Wi-Fi anywhere, even if I go to a show that doesn't have their own Wi-Fi, or that just like doesn't work with what I'm working with. But this little thing has not been consistent recently, so it keeps dropping my signal. And I actually have this little guy here in the corner, so I can like see if I'm dropping signals or not. It's okay. It's doing all right now. Oh, there. Oh. You can see it flatlining. That's when it's. Yeah, right there. Oh, see, flat lines are bad. We don't want those.
You missed the drop there.
See, no, it's awful.
Yeah.
But it does allow me to like walk over here. And I can like see what it looks like from other places, besides like where they put you at a show, which can be random spots sometimes. Wherever the HDMI cord spits out, basically. But yeah, I can walk around and. Oh wait.
Just stand in the audience and just like act really nonchalant while you're
Yeah.
I have
And
that.
sometimes people will pick up on like, oh, are you doing that? Is it you?
He was very professional with the iPad walking around.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's like you're taking a tally
So hopefully it will just work if I walk over here.
And that's a cool device. I'm sure there's other ones that might have a little bit like.
Yeah, no, I just like found the cheapest one. See, it's
Yeah.
not working very well now.
We could do like a mesh network. With your friends. Mesh that.
Oh, I've heard about that.
How does that work? Like the phones?
I think yeah, it's like if you have a bunch of different routers and they can all communicate with each other and basically pass signals to each other, so it creates like a mesh with redundancies.
It's almost like I know someone who's been working on that.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
And you could
Can't say it public.
tell.
Yeah.
Chris, a lot of your stuff is like it's like 2D effects based stuff, and like I could see how it all relates to each other. Is there, I really like it all. Is there anywhere that you haven't explored that you're like, you know what, in 2 years I'm gonna try doing this other thing, like 3D mammal props or something like that? Like, is there an area of interest that you're moving towards?
Yeah, I am like very like 2D planner based, but I do think, like one, my current interest is like getting out of the screen, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
like kind of building with actual space rather than screen space. But it would be interesting, like take that 3D space into the screen space a bit more, working more with like 3D things that really push the depth of the like camera, rather because I'm working pretty flat most of the time. So pushing that depth would be kind of like where I'd want to head in terms of VJ stuff. Cool question.
What's your process of like getting approval for your, for example, you're working with a DJ or a producer, so you need to show them something that I have a plan to, do this kind of stuff. Is it like a video format you send them that explain your plan to what you do, or they just trust you to whatever you want?
Yeah, it's mostly just trust. And I don't know, it's maybe better to like not even give them the option. It's like I'm gonna show up and you're gonna take what I got. I don't want what you think you want.
Like they don't want what they think they want.
Yeah, no, they don't.
They don't give you notes.
Nah, usually it's at most I'll ask like, oh, do you want like a color theme?
Yeah.
You want a certain color to be at the forefront. That I can do, because I can just change the. If I go over here, I can just change the hue of it, and that's easy. I can do that. That's fine.
It's like the Michelangelo story where they're like, the nose is too big and he has like the dust in his hand, and he like pretends to chisel and releases the dust. So the patron's like, oh, we made the change we've been doing.
Yeah, no, perfect.
One thing I really like, you guys should maybe check out is like how organized Chris's like control scheme is on the iPad. It's
Oh yeah,
really
I'm
impressive.
actually just like walk around with this.
Yeah.
So, this is like just like an iPad app, but there's also a desktop app as well that you can get like, it's much more easy to get like really granular with these controls, because there's like pre-made things that are just like really simple. And it's just like, 10 faders and some buttons, but I really filled up this UI.
I do
Oh, so cool.
It's kind of like Star Trek.
Yeah. And what's really key is the labels, so I know what the hell I'm doing.
That's so cool. I have an idea.
And I have it kind of like separated into kind of like my different scenes. Like I have a full third of my screen devoted to the Goopy. We love the Goopy. She gets so much love and attention.
Hit it with the goop.
Because
Oh,
the
wait, just a
Goop.
couple more minutes, Chris. We'll move on.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it would be kind of hellish to make this just on the iPad UI of the app. So if you ever like really want to get like in depth, I'd recommend paying the $30 for the desktop app. which is free. It just asks you, like, you should get the license, and you can just X out the box and you're fine. Let's see, what else is of interest in my patch? Oh yeah, for this little like signal monitor, it's picking up nothing. There we go. I actually used replicators, which Jonny showed us briefly at the last study group. Let's see if if it's something I would be. Yeah, replicators are awesome.
Oh, I have a replicator question.
Yeah.
Is that okay to ask you now?
Yeah, sure.
Do you know how replicators output? Oh wow.
Those are hand duplicated artisanal.
Okay, so you know when replicators appear on like the highest level container window, is the if I want to put something on top of that image, are you connecting them here? How are you sending the signal out?
So I've got this I got this replicator container. I got this going into an out, and then I would probably layer that. I would use that as its own container, then layer that into another piece of my UI. I just have it floating around like this because I haven't fully integrated it into my controls yet. So like if I go over here to my control panel, this is pretty much stock. Oh wait, no, I have added in, it's just not placed yet. So it's here in the corner. You can see it reacting. But I actually also have like a frames per second here in the corner as well that this is covering. So I know like where I'm at in terms of performance, which is useful to know. So I know if I'm suddenly, well, you can also know by the lag if you're hitting 20 frames per second. But it's nice to know if I'm like dipping a little bit for some reason, like, oh, I'm at 55 for some reason. Why is that happening when I should be at a nice smooth 60?
When you reset the replicator, it doesn't break that connection?
It might.
Okay.
I don't have it set so nice as Jonny does. Maybe I'll ask you a question.
Is the way that you can like have it automatically connect?
Yeah, I don't have it set up like that. I just kind of drag-clicked all of them all and just manually dragged them into the thing I wanted.
Are you all set?
Yep.
Any other questions?
That was pretty much it.
Where can the people find you?
I have an Instagram called Dr. Graphics. It's spelled kind of weird.
We just tagged him on Instagram.
Yeah, he's on the stories.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to follow him, you can grab him.
Yeah. Yeah, go to the YVR Instagram. You'll find me there.
Also, if you guys like capture any cool stories, though, make sure to share it with us, and we'll put it up on the thing.
All right, cool. Thank you for watching me ramble.
That was awesome. So we'll take a couple minute, like a 5-minute break, and just listen to some music, and then just wait for the next presentation. And hang out. There's chips and there's water and stuff like that.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Who's that?
This song fucking slaps. Makes me want to like chew really dirty e-pill.
Okay, I was like, there's no way that there's a boom.
Yeah, I'm DJ. What's up, man? Your last post was really awesome.
Thank you. Very, very first TouchDesigner.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, we all start somewhere.
It's usually blog tracking and it's just like so easy to start. So many blog tracks.
Yeah. Wow. My laptop heated up my boobly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just like piss warm now.
Okay, boobly.
Warm boobly.
Okay.
Do you want me up or do you want to be up?
I was gonna ask you, would you want to go second or what?
Sure, why not?
Alright.
Unless you want me to go last for some reason.
No.
In which case, really good. Yeah, this will be a fun little exercise in. I didn't quite have enough time today to annotate my thing, but so we'll have a nice messy network.
Good. We do like messy nets.
Messy nets are real.
They are a real thing. So this is your way plug in?
Yeah, where's power hiding?
Powers are down here.
I'm gonna have to untangle this then.
How do I get out of this fucking thing?
Oh boy. Out of an on-screen keyboard that's popped up over top of something?
I know.
I don't even know.
Oh yeah, so it's like that.
Is this mic doing anything important?
Oh, it's recording us.
Cool. So yes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Why is this short? That if it wants to. How is TouchDesigner though? It's on my own screen. That's good. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to like tweak the various. I don't know. I assume you can tweak the color of these, like the operator reference lines. I find they disappear on me a lot.
Which ones?
The like when there's an operator reference.
Oh yeah, those.
Yeah. Those.
Hakuna Matata. You ready?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Just do a couple minutes.
Okay.
Do you have any audio?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, do we need to hear it?
I don't know. It's nice, but I would like play it briefly and then turn it off. So I could always just like crank my speakers on my laptop in order to get.
Okay.
Well, like
you can also try setting it out your HDMI because I think that we actually. Oh, you know what? You know what? I don't know, man. I didn't figure that out.
You didn't figure it out? No, like, it's probably gonna like go through the projector or something, right?
Yeah, and I actually ran the cable back.
Yeah.
Here, so now it comes back to the speakers.
Right. So what is my audio
But I don't
device?
really remember.
My audio device is my laptop speakers, which is probably sufficient. Let me just see here. Yeah, I think that's going to be sufficient.
not just the dumbest mixes.
How long have you actually had that controller? Because you were using a pure software controller before, weren't you?
I don't think so. I mean, we've had this. It's like a mine.
Around here for a bit?
Had it for
Okay.
like 4 years.
Yeah.
Whoa. You guys ready? Bye, Conrad. You guys ready? 30 seconds. Liquid. Oh, the fade. Well, it's kind of a, you may never find a love that's right. All right, here we go, Greg.
Hello, I'm the next presenter. My name's Greg. I have been coming to pretty much all of these meetups since they got restarted after COVID, and taught a couple of TouchDesigner workshops, including one for Interface Fest was the most recent one. And I really like TouchDesigner. It is cool, fun to play around with, and it is different from what I do professionally enough, but has enough overlap that it's like a good way for my brain to get out of what I do and into something else and explore things with a little bit more open-ended creativity. This community we have here has been great. One of the cool things we started doing recently that I'm attempting to plug to try to get more interest in getting more submissions is our prompts that we do one a month. And the idea is that we vote on what prompt we're going to do at the meetups, and then there is a week. A week's leeway in between when we start taking submissions for it and when we stop. And now that submission timeline also has another thing attached to it, which is collaboration week. They're the same. We accept collaborations that are either the prompts or whatever you're working on. And you don't have to follow the prompt if you don't want to. If you want to share anything and have TouchDesigner YVR boost it, we do that for 1 week a month. What we're trying to get going is a mutually beneficial, getting things into more people's eyes things where the more that we have people submit things that are collaboration posts, the more that we get seen, the more that they share, the more that everyone who follows us sees their stuff. So it's trying to build our own community profile as well as helping anyone who wants to build their own profile, get their stuff in front of more eyes for whatever reason. What's that? Yeah.
There's an unanswered comment there. It looks like someone said, love the audiovisual. Who made it? You didn't answer.
Oh, yeah.
Now I made it. That's why I put the rocket ships down there, Johnny. Was that not clear? Yeah.
There we go. It has been addressed officially here. All right. So along with this, there were a few other interesting submissions that were other liquid-based ones. And I'm not sure exactly which one. Oh, that's you? Okay, cool. Yeah, this one's neat. Lots of nice shimmering, liquidy things going on.
My aunt loved it so much too. She reached out, she's like, oh my god, it's purple and it's so pretty and I love it so much.
Yeah. Oh, is that about yours, Alyssa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is one that Alyssa probably did most of the work on it. I helped figure out how to make the ripples really satisfying. Then I kind of wanted to get that going in my own.
You should show Trians as well.
Yeah, Trians is this one here, which is...
There's a head and a hand that's motion tracking, and based on the sound in the room, it's determining the color and shape.
Yeah. But yeah, we want to get more cool stuff to post on our the community's Instagram profile. I think it's neat as far as attracting people to TouchDesigner, to be able to see a lot of what people are doing with it. The more that kind of thing gets noticed in Vancouver, like I just have a feeling that it'll lead to more opportunities for people to VJ and whatnot, or do interactive art exhibits, or do all those kinds of things, because it's just like having a presence and a reasonable community behind it just increases chances that someone will think that that's something that's worthwhile to do. Yeah, that's why we're trying to do this kind of thing. So when we voted on this, there was actually a tie for first place between Liquid and Voxel. I decided to do both. And so for mine, I came up with this scene that was showing water in several different forms, from like these voxel raindrops that are continuously falling to this bowl of water that's in here that's overfilling and doing this like slightly different presentation with the little waterfalls on the edges. And I wanted to make it look nice while also looking very low res. So combined it with voxels as the other thing there. And I also really like voxels and working in 3D stuff with TouchDesigner. And Jonny was saying it's really hard to make things look good in 3D in TouchDesigner. And I have a few tricks. So one of which is having a good environment light driven by an HDRI. So I'm going to get into my actual gigantic sprawl of a network here that is all over the place that I started annotating earlier, and that I was hoping I would make a little bit more progress with annotating. But we're going to go through the chaos here. I believe I did actually put one around where like my skybox is being driven by this this particular HDRI. It's not really a skybox. It's a sphere of geometry that is surrounding the entire 3D space. I believe it's like 20 units out. This is all centered on 0, 0, except for I think that 0, 0 is actually like kind of right through here, and it goes up to just beyond 1 on both sides. But then there's a sphere surrounding everything. And in that sphere, oops, let me turn my volume down just a little bit. That sphere has a matching environment light that is using the same HDRI. So just using it as both the texture for the inside face of the sphere, as well as it is influencing the lighting that is hitting everything in the scene, that is glinting off of these wet surfaces and the water that's in there. Then I have some additional point lights, which are what are causing the lightning flashes that are just trying to make it look like there's lightning going from cloud to cloud off in the distance. So those are just point lights that are close to the sky sphere, using YVR material that is not particularly reflective. It has a metallic of 0 and a roughness that's not very high, so it lights up a little bit from the light being quite close to it. But I also wasn't wanting to get the influence of the the light in the scene so that when there is a flash, that you can see it popping in the reflections on each of the things in here. So, to see more of that? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, okay. Other cool things I have going on in here. All these materials, they all came from someone else's hard work in Substance Designer. There are a bunch of them that you can grab for free on the internet in various places that are pretty interesting, decent materials that work well for voxels and everything else. What's also really cool about those is the Substance top, which I'm not sure if anyone has been getting into, but you can just load the Substance Designer files, just like drag them straight into TouchDesigner. They open like this. You get this wonderful, all of the parameters that are in there. You can extract specific layers from it if you want to, but you have something that has like multiple texture map layers plus bump mapping plus like you can have alpha maps in there, and TouchDesigner will use it. So it's kind of a good way to get some very interesting looking textures. There's the place where I got the ones that are used here specifically is Texture Can here, but there are other locations, and it really is just like download it, unzip it, drag it into TouchDesigner, start fiddling with the sliders until you're happy with how it looks. So if you're trying to do something in a hurry, that's a good way to do it. If you happen to have Substance Designer, it integrates very well with TouchDesigner. So yeah, and you can get some pretty dramatic effects out of, like differences out of the, like some of the parameters actually have a pretty profound effect on what the texture does. Like you can see there's like speckling of stone that's appearing in there. You can make it be a lot muddier or whatnot. So yeah, there's lots of fun sliders to play with any substance file that someone's made. So it's cool. I may have to at some point get my hands on it, but it's very expensive. So now the other fun thing that is going on in here, like in my scene, I guess there's a bunch of fun things. I'm going to quickly switch to the, oh shoot, I always forget exactly where it is. Yeah.
Duplicate or split left, right? Yeah. And
Then it's over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get the geometry viewer going on. So here's where you can see how my overall full scene is working with that sky sphere. And I'm going to drill into it and hope that I can see on the inside. Oh boy. I always hate the...
It's clear now.
Deeper.
There it is. There's my little scene hanging out way up in there. And you can see that I have my waterfalls hanging off just out of scene, and the rain goes way up. And
have you played Tears of the Kingdom?
me? No, I actually have never played it. I've been told many times that I should.
What is your frame rate?
It holds at about 60. It's like a solid 30 when I have, like with no, I can get it up to 60 if I have all the viewers turned off. There are so many geometry viewers in this network that they will drag the performance down. So like it's actually a very large difference in my frame rate when I have them all on versus off. Like if you turn them all on and zoom out, it chugs. If you turn them off, it's okay. if you move the network to somewhere where you're focused on just part of it, it's better. But yeah, that actually makes a dramatic difference in the overall performance. Like having, especially anything that's rendering 3D geometry in it, having that turned off. But yeah, like what you're seeing here, this is actually holding steady at 30, and I've turned a bunch of them on. Oh, now it's not. I think the extra geometry viewer here is slowing it down a bit, so it's 24 at the moment. This is on an M3 Max MacBook Pro, which is okay. It's not as spicy as Alyssa's laptop by any means. So in this scene, I started with a cube of stuff. I wasn't sure what I wanted that cube of stuff to be. I made that by assembling a bunch of ramps together. So there's actually like a top in here somewhere that is, it's like 10 ramps in a layout, and then 10 of those in a different layout in order to get like 100 different slices of 100 by 100. So there's like 100 pixels up, 100 pixels over, 100 and 100 pixels depth in this like long running strip at the top. That I can show that shortly, but then I carved pieces out of it with GLSL, and in order to make the different bits. So I just had the geometry space in order to like instance a cube on each one of them in this cube of space, and then started cutting shapes out of it. So there's a sphere that gets cut off along there. I cut a slice in order to get the grass layer, cut a different slice in order to get the surface of the water. And it's all just being done with math in GLSL. And then the rain is also being managed by GLSL. It is on every update moving each one of these voxel raindrops down by about the height of one of them. And if it detects that it's gone too far, it will cycle it back up to the top and re-randomize its position with new noise. So it's initially populated with a random noise of just like, there's a square. The square results in there being one of the raindrop voxels for every like pixel of surface area on the scene. There's just a raindrop at any given time. And having them distributed like that winds up looking pretty satisfying. I think they're pretty convincing as far as like a randomized rain pattern. You could potentially have more than one of these scenarios of rain generation in order to get like evenly distributed but randomized rain. If you want it to be heavier, yeah, like you just add more. You could also change the height in order to make it different. And there's the camera rotating by, which is kind of fun. Yeah, like, that's just going way up in order to make the rain be a little bit more sparse. And then I have it so that when it's hitting any of these parts of the surface, that it's spawning ripples. Oh boy, this is going to be unmanageable. Yeah, it's like really wanting to move too much on each little. Yeah. So as you can see, as each one of these raindrops hits the surface, it's actually creating a ripple that's emanating outwards. And that's using edge detection and blur in order to make the expanding ripple and make it fade out, just in a feedback loop. So I have like a texture that is the surface of the water that is just where raindrops are currently hitting on it, so it's just dots. Each of those dots spawns an outwardly emanating ripple. And it changes frame by frame with wherever raindrops are currently hitting. So the ripples will interact with each other as well, because when you do edge detection around the edge of a shape, it will readily collide with the edges of other shapes. So they're all happening in the same fun space and play nicely together. And that tree, it is kind of loosely adapted from a demo in a project called Voxelator. It's just like a little web-based voxel editor. It's not perfect as far as something to use to try to get voxel art into TouchDesigner. It's something that I want to try to figure out a better way, because it exports everything as actual 3D geometry, and you don't want 3D geometry, you want point clouds. The 3D geometry makes it overly complicated and harder to use, whereas a point cloud is a lot easier to work with. So essentially, what was in Voxelator as a voxel wound up being 4 points in here, or 8 points for the edges of the cube. So I wound up with something that looked a lot different when I brought it into TouchDesigner than it did in the software I was creating it. So I need to find a better pipeline for doing that, but I think I got it okay. And there's a bit of using some noise on the leaves in order to make them look like they're being wind rustled in this thunderstorm that's going on here.
Hey Greg, we got a question over here.
Yep.
I was just gonna actually suggest for getting like that voxel turned into point clouds, you can use Blender. There's the vanilla, just like a remesh plugin, lets you voxelize everything, and then you can export it as any
yeah.
that you want, and probably make that easier for yourself.
It having been a mesh to begin with adds an extra step of weirdness, because I want the center point of the little voxel cubes, not the vertices of it. So now I imagine there's probably a way in Blender to do that as well. But
probably. I haven't looked into that personally.
yeah, like if you have a whole bunch of different cubes to get their center points, and then export that, because that's that's what lets you have it look the same. So this is a big complicated, a big complicated network. Are there any parts of it that people want to see in closer detail? Because I could probably go through it for an hour, and I have 5 or 10 minutes more. So.
I'd like to see the ripple, and then like how you're detecting particles on there.
So, first off, like I have a whole bunch of different geometry comps in here. I made them big so that I could see them amongst all of the crazy noise that is in here with all this stuff. There is this one here is where the actual ripples are happening. And so it's just this little surface layer, and it actually overlaps the surface of the water. So there's the water that fills the bowl is one of the geometry comps, and then this one cohabits with it. And as these aren't following the voxel grid perfectly, they're one of the conceits that disobeys it between like this and there's a cheat on the waterfall, and the leaves on the tree also like move outside of like the confines of the voxel grid. But these ripples will emerge through the surface of the water because they're very, very, very slightly below the surface as their baseline. And how I'm doing that is I'm going to follow this back here. We've got the surface color, which is kind of important because because on the ripple layer, I am using the alpha, and so both the water and the surface ripple layer do have translucency in them, which also helps with the effect in there. What's that? Oh, yeah, it's on once, so I can just set it on loop and it'll keep going. Now, as far as how these are being created, so this is where the raindrop detections are happening. And so this is anywhere in that two-dimensional space when a raindrop hits a specific Y value. And I'm using this GLSL top to do that. So all that it's doing is checking if the G, which is being mapped to the Y, so the green channel, if it is if it's below the value that is below or equal to the value that is the surface. So if it is, then it's outputting a white pixel. If it's not, it's outputting a black pixel. And so the input that this is receiving is a few different things. Let's see here. Let me see what is actually hooked in here. Well, one of these is just like this is the actual where it exists in space, and then the other thing that is being put in here is the guy that controls the rain, which is way up here in this vastly different region of things. Because for some reason I decided to have the rain be somewhere else completely. This is the overall space that everything exists in. Is yeah, the universe is defined by this like big long ribbon of ramps. Sorry, what's that? Hold on a second. So the surface rain should be getting connected to the rain, but
2 more minutes, Bert.
okay. I can show you a little bit more detail, Lane, specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, this just going into a really simple feedback with edge detection, blur, and level adjustment. Like that's all that's involved in making the ripples.
It's very impressive.
Which we did get from a tutorial. Someone had implemented that.
Yeah. Do you remember who that was?
I think it's like that no one's image guy.
Yeah, because
I think it's
what I like about his tutorials, and unfortunately he isn't doing them anymore. He hasn't done one in 3 years. They're really short.
Yeah.
They get to the point in a hurry. I think this one was like a 3-minute tutorial, which I enjoy more than a 50-minute one where I'm often seeking through it repeatedly to try to get to the parts that I'm looking for.
Yeah. As someone who found out about TouchDesigner like 4 days ago,
Yeah.
and just coming from like a game design background, I see a lot of things that I understand. Like, what would be the advantages of doing this kind of simulation in TouchDesigner versus like anything else?
That's a good question.
Why do you guys even use this program?
It's like, look what I can do in TouchDesigner. Like, that's fucking valid, but like.
Yeah. No, it is a good question. I would say that reasons for doing it in TouchDesigner are that there are a lot of different things that are easy to combine to produce a creative result, and that it's not for this. That it does texture manipulations really nicely. You can use them to make interesting 3D scenes. It's not a 3D game engine. It doesn't have the same constraints that a 3D game engine has. And so it's a little bit more open-ended, and certain things are substantially harder. And some of why I did this was to like see how hard this would be. And it wasn't that hard, but there definitely wasn't a lot that was set up to make this easy. It was just that I'd already figured out a bunch of tricks that worked towards this.
Yeah. Okay, like you could then like control this with all kinds of crazy doohickery and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and like most of what I do in TouchDesigner is like audio reactive visuals for like music performance purposes, and like a lot of it winds up in Alyssa's shows. So we work on a bunch of that stuff together.
How big's the file?
This file, the different assets that are included in it are much larger than the file. So. See here. Oh, that doesn't work. The actual file is 147K. Like the HDRI in there is a few megabytes, and like I think the total for everything in this is probably about 8 megs.
How much GPU memory?
Oh boy.
How many lines of GLSL code is there?
Not very many. So I have a bunch of different shaders in various places, but each one of them is only about this long. They're just there to do little bits of math. So it's like in some cases it's to do a threshold, but to do it in a specific place. Some cases it's to do like circle geometry in order to figure out what points would exist inside of a circle. But like, yeah, I do a lot of very short GLSL code in order to manipulate textures to make 3D stuff happen. But yeah, GPU memory, and then I probably have to let the next person present, which is Jonny, right? What is it?
Isn't there like a task manager in the Mac?
Well, I could, yeah.
Activity monitor.
But it's going to lie a little bit. Like, I don't think I get a specific GPU memory out of this.
I would say in TouchDesigner, like the bottlenecks that I've come across are GPU memory. That's usually the biggest bottleneck when you're doing a lot of instancing.
I'm trying to remember where the palette even is. I turned it off and now I can't.
That's this guy. Oh, right there.
That one? Okay, good. And what is it called? Probe.
Oh, he's doing the probe. You guys know about probe? Okay.
So if you don't know about probe, this is how you figure out your horrible performance problems. And it will tell you all kinds of things like how much GPU memory your project is using.
Triangle.
Yeah.
Triangle of
So it's using about 10 megabytes? Well, that can't be right. No, it's CPU memory, GPU memory. There, that's more reasonable.
There you go. There's some orange.
Yeah, it's a gigabyte or thereabouts of 897.86 megs of GPU memory, so not a huge amount. So, yeah. But there's not a lot of geometry in there. Like, it's all very simple, and there's not a huge amount of it. There's only about a couple 100,000 total instances in there, which is low for scenes that I do. So.
I gotta say you're a genius.
What's that?
You're a genius.
Oh, thanks. You're also a genius. Thanks.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I hope so. If we didn't, let's clap for Chris.
If you wanted to submit to the prompts, how would I do it?
Oh, yeah.
You wait for you join the Instagram. That's the first thing you do. And
Yeah.
then you wait for the instructions on the Instagram.
And just if I wanted to suggest a prompt, how would I do it?
Let's do
Yeah, it would be good to do it.
So if
Ah, I was
y'all are
wondering.
in the Discord, there's a little channel that's called prompts, and I'm just gonna message in there now. Let's pick a prompt. Prompt for March. So y'all can put your ideas in there, and then we'll run a poll this week. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. Cool. Wait, are we doing the prompt thing now, or?
Well, no, it's just if people
Alright.
are just like on their phone, they can just, if they have Discord on their phone, they can just hop up in there and do that, but can be done passively.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll just take another like couple minute break, like 5-minute break, and then I'll do a quick presentation. It won't be that long. And is anyone else like wanting to show like another 5 or 10 minutes? Anyone feeling spontaneous? No? Okay. Then let's just hang out for a second, and then I'll just make sure it works, and then we'll wrap up.
Can I talk about Study Club?
Yes, please. Yes.
So Study Club is super fun. It's just an excuse to like actually work on something because life is hard, and we don't have time for a lot of things. And so typically they run every other week from the meetup. So the next one will be March 26th. And so just come hang out, do no presentations, but it's just course study time. Yeah, and then we always are looking for people to do posters. I think the next Study Club poster Ian's doing. But if you're interested in making a poster, it doesn't have to be made in TouchDesigner for a Study Club. But it's just 6:30 to 8:30, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, just work on a tutorial or then maybe a little show and tell after.
It also usually lines up with if you're trying to do something for a prompt. Then you can work on your prompt there, which is what I did at Study Club last time.
Study Club's getting really big too. Like it was like 15 people last time. We like had the whole center open and people are using like EEG readers and controlling drones and stuff. Okay, a couple minutes.
Can I use there for a vape or
Yeah,
is
go for it. You can, yeah, please do. Oh, my hands are wet, so good to see ya. I didn't expect to see you tonight.
I have an office down the street actually on Homer.
Awesome. Very good. Love it.
For a while.
We got one more presentation left, and it'll be me. But the last two were good. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're recording anyway, so. Yeah. Hey, you doing good?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thanks. Yeah, I'm good. Talk to you.
I'm gonna start in a couple minutes, so yeah.
Okay, fine.
I like
there in the crowd? Enjoying this mix? Looks like there should be like a horn. All right, everybody. What? People just want to hang out. All right. You guys ready? I mean, we don't have to. We can just hang out. Okay. Let's do it. Wow. Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, what a sweet song. Did you guys know this song? It's just funny to get this this welcome because I have such a crappy presentation today. I usually don't prepare, but this one is really. I just really want to hear this part of the song. It's really good. Yeah, so today I'll be talking a little bit about TouchDesigner. I'm going to go over our new poster, which is a redesign of our old poster. And then I'll talk about some other stuff that aren't related to TouchDesigner, but kind of are. Okay, here it is. So good. Anyway, we'll stop that. And make sure. Okay. Cool. Oh, I really didn't prepare. Okay, so if you were on Instagram recently, I don't know, do you guys use Instagram?
Sometimes.
A little bit. Do you guys feel good about using Instagram?
No.
Me neither. I recently have had a realization about it. It's like, oh, this is the only way. I mean, I've been talking about this for a while. But like, this is the only way we can share our art with each other and actually like reach out to each other. But it just feels so disgusting. It's like, oh, I want to be honest and tell people about who I am as a person. It's like it feels like you're trying to get attention from people, and it's all part of the Zuck's metaverse and all that kind of stuff. The reason I say that is because we finally have alternatives. And one of the alternatives, I don't know if you guys use it, is called Blue Sky. Raise your hand if you haven't heard of Blue Sky. Have not? One? Okay, raise your hand. No, actually, whatever. Okay, so Blue Sky is actually like a Twitter alternative, but it's built by people who really, really care about the internet and who really care about privacy and security and owning your own shit. And so basically it's a platform that anybody can build on, and it's like, I think it's open source. And what that means basically is that while it looks like Twitter, you can actually build your own interfaces, and one of the things I'm planning to do is build a version of it that allows you to embed 3JS scenes in it. And then 3JS will be connected to WorldTree, if you know what WorldTree is, because I've been talking about it for a while. So you could have like real-time 3D with WebSocket connections in your timeline. So stuff like that is really cool. So basically the reason I'm talking about it at all is because I don't anticipate us all being on Instagram for that much longer, in my opinion, unless they come out with some VR version and we all hop into our VR headsets. Right? Like we all really want to do. And not only because we actually can own it, but because there's this whole thing where it's like early in sites like this, there's an opportunity to get more, to acquire more clout, basically, because you're not competing as much. For example, there's TouchDesigner on here. TouchDesigner has 700 followers. And I do not believe there are any TouchDesigner aggregators on here, which means that we could make a TouchDesigner aggregator. What's also really cool about it is that you can write your own bots for it. So usually if you want to have a bot that deals with the Twitter API, you'd have to go get a developer key and all this stuff. Anyone can build a bot with this, which one of the first things I did with AI recently is I built a command line way to post to Blue Sky. So you could actually just type it through an MS-DOS console. And so basically I anticipate, like next month I hope to present being able to post to Blue Sky with TouchDesigner, which means that you could do all sorts of stuff. Like, you know, everyone's doing the hand stuff right now where it's doing hand tracking. Like, what if you could like, yeah, MediaPipe, right? Yeah. What if you could like write your tweet with your hands and then post it? I don't know.
They call them something else. They're not tweets.
I'm advocating for Zeet. I've heard people call them skeets, or someone call them a squeet, like a squid squeezing out ink. But it hasn't really been decided yet. So yeah, and if you really want to like demystify me as a person, you could also follow me on here, because I've recently been using it to just completely lose my mind and like.
What's your handle?
It's johnny.zspace.ca.
What's your alt? Do you have an alt?
I don't have any alts. Yeah, because I mean, I've had a lot of trouble posting on places for lots of different reasons, like social anxiety and stuff like that. So I'm trying to destroy my demons right now on this. But yeah, I basically want us all to consider using. Thank you. Thank you. It's really fun to be on stage because I used to be really afraid of public speaking. Is anyone here afraid of public speaking? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my gosh. I felt the same. I lost a lot of opportunities because I didn't want to do it in the past. And I realized that basically that my problem at least was like a boundaries thing, where I was trying to imagine how other people would take me as I was speaking, and I was simulating what they were thinking about me in my head. And at some point you realize it doesn't really matter what other people think. Oh, I got a follow right here. Hey! Yeah. What's up?
That's our show.
Which one? Oh, this one? This one here? Whose rules? Hey, who's this? Michelle. Oh, whoa. More followers at 70. That's big. And who's this? Anaspria? Well, anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Yeah, let's build a TouchDesigner bot on Blue Sky, and then let's just take over the internet. Okay, so another thing is that, the thing I want to talk about is that ZSpace has a new website. I don't know if I showed it last time. zspace.ca. Look at this cool website. Oh yeah. And if you let this run for like days, it's like it's an entropic material or whatever. So it actually gets more and more chaotic. And you can see people who are from ZSpace, which is the space, on there. So that's the second thing I was going to say. The third thing I was going to say is I was going to announce that now that I'm mostly over public speaking, I just submitted a paper to SIGGRAPH. Woo! So hopefully if I get in, I'll be on stage in August, but we'll see. And I'll be talking about everything from TouchDesigner, YVR, and I actually even referenced Boyd's in my my application.
Can you sneak me in like one of those little suitcases?
Yeah, I do need someone to help me with
It's pretty spendy to get into SIGGRAPH.
Is it? Oh, I didn't even look. I hope that they would.
Jonny, are you about to show us some Boyds?
I forgot to. No, I'm not. Well, actually, I'll show you something that's. Well, I don't. Well, okay. So Boyds are. The way I understand Boyds is like, okay, so it's a murmuration of birds that move around. You guys know what that looks like, right? I'll just pull it up for fun. So a murmuration of birds. Starlings. This is it down right here. And they call it, look at that.
They are the best invasive species.
Are they invasive? Let's see it slowed down.
They sound so freaking cool too.
Yeah.
They're such a good bird.
What's really interesting about this is that science doesn't really understand how it works entirely. because they're forming cohesive patterns. And there's a guy named Rupert Sheldrake that has a theory called morphic field resonance, which basically says that memory is stored within a field like the ether that's beyond our... Yeah, it's really... But everyone, he's like a disgraced scientist. He's been, his entire life, he's been battled against. But what's also interesting is that the concept of voids was first from a guy named Craig Reynolds, who described them mathematically as particles that have different properties, 3 of them actually: separation, alignment, and cohesion. So how close they are together, how far away, how much they want to push each other away, and how much they're aligned in their direction. And my talk talks about how we are all voids. And
Johnny, you're my homeboy.
I like that. Very nice. But it basically depends on us like sharing information with each other and knowing where each person is going and what each person's intentions are, and how we don't really have perfect information about each other because so much of it's blocked through social media, or we don't openly share with each other. So I talk about a bunch of other stuff too, like the metaverse a lot, but yeah, I love that you brought up voids and all that. And yeah, so the rest of it, I think that's basically all my extra stuff. I had one other thought about Chris's presentation where I really liked that iPad. And I was thinking that you could build a bot where you could post to Blue Sky with the iPad. Anyway, okay. So now I'll just... Or you can use that. Okay, whatever. Oh my god, I can't even... So, excuse me? Did you just say over-engineered? You suck.
Yeah, so like those particles aren't voids in this. I thought they were.
I'll talk about that in just a second. So this is actually a remake of the original, which is this one. Oh my god. There you go. It's this center part. So this was originally made with Blender, and it's a circle, and I took a little... Do you guys know that in Blender you can do motion capture with your mouse? So you can basically grab something and then hit record, and then you could jiggle it around and then stop recording. So that's how I recorded the motion of this, and I like it because it's almost like puppetry that you do in real time, and then you play it back. So I wanted to bring that into the modern age by making a 3D version of it. And as you can tell, it doesn't look exactly the same. But there's a bunch of things I thought were pretty cool about this. First off, it's the same thing but in TouchDesigner. Second off is it's using ray casting, which I yap about a lot, which is like something that's in game engines. It's basically shooting a line from your eye to your mouse and then hitting whatever's on the far side. And then it gives you information about that. And there's other stuff too. We always are making posters like this, but I was like, what if we could make them a lot easier? So I built a little interface where you can basically interact with the text. Like for example, you could quickly move it around and do some typo or correction, all that stuff. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to just give this to the community to show. So let's go into it, the file. I just transferred this from a different computer, so it's really messed up for some reason. Well, we know why. Relative paths versus, okay. Already it's broken quite a bit, but yeah, basically you can zoom in, you can zoom out. I added a little event listeners so that when it hits something, it makes a little noise. Those are FBX animations that were brought in, and then I also added it so that if you click on this, you summon more blorbs. Did you say whales?
It sounds like whales.
Yeah, you're summoning whales right now.
Yeah.
We should. It'd be cool if we could summon some whales, with some cash and all that.
Those sure look like voids.
They do look like voids, don't they? Okay, this is something like voids. So,
It looks like...
you know what's funny is also this does fit the theme of liquid, which I didn't intend to do. So yeah, and so this, to me, I see this as being like us, and we're all playing around, and then these are all viewers. And the more we do, the more viewers show up and observe like the live interactions. And my plan was to actually make this all connected with WorldTree, which is the metaverse platform I'm building that lets anyone connect any TouchDesigner file from across the world. So what I'd like to do is that if we're all using this file, you could all see our mics all be like, and then we could use that to link to each other. Okay, so what else do I have here? Well, okay, Shift E is what turns on this interaction mode, basically. And once you have that, you can drag things around. You can turn it off and then hit Shift R, and you go, oh, I don't like that. Or Wednesday, yeah. And I have another button that summons a 4-leaf clover, but I didn't bring the file over, so. Okay, so what's going on here? Ooh, don't like that. So this is the main file here, TD-YVR, and I have this kind of habit of putting all of these extra things on the outside of the file. The reason I kind of began that with this thing, Navigator, which is a talks that I bring to each of my different projects. The main reason I do it is, as Greg pointed out, it takes a lot of CPU and GPU to like render this interface. So what you could do is you could go into perform mode, which gives you the best performance, and then you could hit this little network button, and it opens a network view. And that way, you are basically removing any of the other UI that slows down the rendering. So everything else is basically in here. So these are each of the different text pieces, and they're pretty simple. Basically, I realize I cannot explain this very well because I didn't think about it enough. But what it's doing is it's grabbing the panel, or and the panel is it's the mouse position here. And what I'll do is I'll just like bust this open, and so you can see, like that. If I have my mouse over this panel, it's grabbing the XY coordinate information inside the UI, inside V, and then it's using that with a Python script to basically update its own position, which is here. So for example, if I go E, I can drag this around. It should be updating that number. I don't know why it's not right now, but that's the way it's designed. You can see here it's like that might be the wrong spot. Anyway, this whole file is in the inside of our Discord now. So some other things you can see. Here's a little trick that's fun. So it's really easy to grab keyboard stuff here like that. So if you press 1, if you're doing this and you are performing and 1 is connected to something, then you will totally trigger it accidentally when you're entering a number into something. Like say you're trying to like make something 1 times larger. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, so how do you fix that? Well, here's a little trick. So basically you can do 1 and 2. Now you have both. And then you do a logic after it. And logic has something that says combine channels and. So now it only would fire if you hold down both. So that's how I make like little interfaces that are kind of performance proof. And then you could take that, I don't know if you guys know this trick, the count. So if you want to do like a on-off switch, what you do is you'd say limit, you loop it to 0 and 1, and then when you press it, it'll just toggle on and off. So then what you do there is like have like a circle, and then be like, okay, well, I'm gonna do that times 0.4. Okay, now if I tap that 1 and 2 at the same time, it will, do that. Was that interesting, or was that interesting, people?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you want to be a little bit fancier, then you do like put a little lag on it, as we are wont to do. Oh, that's cool.
Wait, you just did that in the code? Oh no, that's mine.
I was like, yeah. Please help me.
Do you ever use filter instead of lag?
What was that?
Do you ever use filter instead of lag?
I haven't. So let's see. So I'll just turn off the lag here so I don't have to read. Okay, and then you do a filter here. Ooh.
Yeah, it gives you a bit of a holes too.
That's interesting. So wait. Oh. So here's another thing too, is if you want, you can do a trail, and then we can see what that little loop looks like. And so now let's. Oh, does it? So now we can kind of see what the two of these are compared to each other. We got lag. We'll do 0.5. So this here is lag versus filter, and you can see the curves look completely different, and we'll give you a different kind of motion.
Those are some good curves.
Yeah, those are. Those are some very nice.
That filter curve though.
You like the filter curve? Yeah.
I'm partial to lag.
Lag is cool because you can do a lag in versus a lag out.
Yeah.
So if you want something that's like really snappy, boom.
Yeah.
So it won't lag if you're increasing values, but it will lag if you're.
Is there like, what are the parameters?
That's a good question. Width effect. So what is Gaussian?
Yeah, they changed the type.
Okay, and then you do like, what would you recommend? Sharpen.
Oh, you're a kitty.
It's like cat version. Edge detect. Okay. Oh, mean cat.
That's the cat filter.
I don't know. Yeah, there's lots to do there.
Oh, fine.
I'm not saying either is better. I'm saying.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. So we did that. These are the same thing. It's like keyboard stuff, shifty, and basically it's got a little. Oh, there we go. If the value is 1, go to the sound area and play the click 2 button. If its value is 0, play the click 1 button. That's how I got the click sound. Okay. So what else?
I have a question.
Yes.
Let's say a lay person wanted to use this as a template for a poster. How might they approach it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I think that from a graphic standards perspective, it would be nice maybe to have at least like the text component of the poster kind of be consistent across.
Yeah. I think what you do is basically go inside of this and delete everything and start over. I wasn't even joking. I mean, you can keep the sound stuff if you want, but like all this stuff here is all my rendering stuff.
Okay.
And it's got the ray casting and everything like that. But because this is where the text is, it's on the outside. Should we try it? Boom. All right, there you go.
Okay. So
and now we just have this. And it doesn't work anymore. All right, we'll have to figure that out.
Okay.
But that would be the general. That's the way I designed it, basically. See you guys. Bye. See you next week. See ya. Okay, so there was that thing, and what else do we got going on here? So the next thing I've got, and I won't go through all of it because I feel like we've had a pretty technically heavy day. This here is all the multi-touch and the ray casting stuff, and I'll just really quick, every once in a while I'll go over this, but just show you what it does. So this thing here is looking at the panel, which is what this thing is, and when you put your mouse over it, it basically is pulling information from what it's hitting. So you can see here, the path is what object it's hitting, and then this is the information about that object. So I'm hitting the orb, and it's grabbing the XYZ coordinate. And if I click, it moves this little sphere to that spot. What else is there? Okay, so this is all the interaction stuff. Put that up here. Over here, this is all like the rendering stuff. So this is using an FBX. Does anyone here use FBXs?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you guys like FBXs? All right. I would like GLB or GLTF support. So yeah, this is what it looks like here. And I'm actually rendering it a number of times. So I have one layer that's just rendering the orbs, and then I have one that's just rendering the water, which is actually audio reactive. I don't know, something got broken. I got these. examples, which are fun. But the reason, and then the last one here is the UI. And the reason I do it is because I want to have more control. One thing that you maybe can't tell very well here, but you could see on the actual one, is that one of the things I was really excited to do was to add refraction, which is something that you don't often see in TouchDesigner stuff. So you can see the orbs on the inside are actually being distorted by the surface. And I'll talk about how I did that. So basically, I'm rendering it 3 times and then I'm compositing it all together here. And what I'm really doing is I'm displacing the stuff on the inside. You can see. So how am I displacing it? Well, let's trace it backwards. This here is the input image. If we go back to the input image, oh, what's this? That looks like a normal map. So basically, you have a render select top, and the render select top can do a render override of things. So what it's doing is you point it to the render, and then you say, give me this specific render pass of this render. So in this, I am just rendering it normally. I've got the orb, I've got the camera. I don't think much. I've turned up the number of color buffers. I've made sure to render it as high of depth as I can. And then here what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the second index. This is actually like a very niche technical thing, so I won't really go into it too much, but basically on a Phong in the advanced area, you can add extra color buffers, which is, actually really useful. You could say, give me the normals, which is what I'm doing. Give me just the specular. Give me the texture coordinates. Give me the shadows. And then what you do is you use, so let's actually add one. So the third one, let's make it, I don't know, the specular color? The final specular color, maybe. And then here I should be able to render select it, and then choose the second. Didn't work. You're basically choosing the index of what that pass is. And then once you bring it in, you can do whatever you want with it. So in this case, it's a normal map that is rendering the facing angle of each of the polygons and rendering it to a pixel, and then you take that and you displace with it. And that's how I got that. And what that means too, and you can't really tell because I think it's missing a map, maybe not, is that this should also represent the shape of the normal map. So let's see if that's actually true. I think what I did was I messed with the UV scale quite a bit. Okay, this is a little bit tedious, but let's just try it. I think this is it here. And then I went in and I used the texture node. The texture node lets you change the scale. Oh, here we go. Yeah. This changes the scale of the UVs. So here I'm changing the scale of the UVs, which is the relationship between the 3D object and the 2D object. And then it's rendering out as a normal map. And then it's being used to displace. So what does that even look like? Oh, way cooler. Yeah. So that's how you get the displacement, the refraction effect. Okay. Was that interesting?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Johnny, you're so smart.
I've been using this program for 10 years. And
did you start when you came here?
Yeah, actually Caspian Kai introduced me.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. Here's some stuff. This is just random. This is like my audio area. Often what I'll do is I'll bring audio into a comp like that. What's going on here? Well, these are actually oscillators. And let's see. These oscillators are all being, what's happening with them? They're all being added together, which layers them, or maybe multiple, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I have somewhere, I have something that basically multiplies its value by whether or not it's hitting the sphere. So if you're hitting the sphere, it'll make a noise, and if it's not hitting the sphere, it won't make a noise. And then I'm also changing the oscillator's base frequencies based on the position of the mouse, which for some reason I can't see right now. But that's how I got this. I've made the elder gods mad. I don't know. But that's how it's getting this kind of, it's like a theremin, but like two-dimensional.
Is it like frequency modulation? You're like adding the waveforms together because it's just sine waves, right?
Yeah.
And then you're multiplying it?
Yeah, I'm multiplying them all together. I'm sorry, I wish that I was, oh, you know what, it's over here. Here it is. Okay, so we've got two oscillators. And you can see when I move it. So this one's mapped to the U position, which is the horizontal. And I'm multiplying it by 440, but if I were to like do 840, you can hear it's like a higher pitch. And then it's being added with this other guy here. 333, make a wish. Doesn't sound that nice. Okay, so these guys, hush please, are being added together. The chops are being added together, so they're layered. And then here I've got the sound effects. These sound effects are being triggered by mouse clicks, and then they're being all added together. I think at this point I feel like I've gone on a little bit longer than I'd like to, because I know it's just been a long thing today. So yeah, that's basically it. This is all this. I also thought it'd be really funny. You know, like self-help books that are like, you are the master of the universe. Well, I took all the ones I had on my hard drive. How to Master Your Destiny, Think and Grow Rich, Strangest Secret, 48 Laws of Power, and then I have them all playing at once. and kind of like fading in and out. So I was like, what if you just put this on in the background and you could like brainwash yourself into becoming the ultimate version of yourself. That was funny.
But did it work?
You tell me. I don't know. I think yes. Honestly, each of those books helped me in different ways. I really liked it. Okay, so this has the text on it. Okay, and then here this is the UI layer. You know, I've got both. If you look at the actual thing, when the mouse goes over this, great quality, you get this little finger pointer thing. And all that is here. It's just a switch. And it switches between the finger pointer, which is missing, and the circle based on whether or not it's hitting something. And then, of course, you add a little balloon.
Go ahead.
You gotta have a little balloon. And I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, did anyone see the secret message? Does it not show here? I don't know why it's not.
The extra E's in
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
This is actually an old version of the file, surprisingly. Huh. Okay, well I'll show it here. I put a little Easter egg here, basically. Oh, when I switch on the edit mode, it has this little piece of text, and it's a little note to myself. It says, "Make it really good for these guys. They're so much fun to be around, and the community is growing. People are leveling up and getting so much better at what they do. New people every time too. So fun. I wonder if I can connect it to WorldTree." A little heartfelt message to you guys, because one thing I've noticed is that the people that have been coming to this have been getting so much better. Triam comes to mind, Diana comes to mind, Ian comes to mind. Like, everyone's just been really killing it, and I think it's really cool. It's one of the things I like about this event and this group. So I think that's all, and yeah, that's it.
Just before the TouchDesigner started, what were you doing, and what was it that made you want to try TouchDesigner?
Oh yeah, I complain about this a lot in other presentations. Can we go back in time? I hate Instagram. I was doing visual effects, and the reason I got into it in the first place was because I was invited to VJ at New Forms Festival. At that point, it was 2013. What I would do is I was using Maya at that point, and I'd make particle systems or like procedural animation, and then I would just, interpolate, like frame interpolation after, so you do keyframes here, and then it's like, what are you gonna do for the rest of time? And usually it's like loop, but you can also say, just keep adding the keyframes onto each other. And so I'd do that, and I'd have these divergent keyframes that happen for 20,000 frames, and then I would just render the whole thing out as a play blast. And then I would save these giant files, and then just make a big thing of them, and I'd mix them live. And what I usually complain about is just like how arduous that is. It's like you're dealing with 40,000 frame sequences, it's 200 gigabytes of HAP or any other codec. And it's like, oh, if I want to back this up, I literally can't because I don't have enough space. It's just became like a data management problem. And so the reason I got into TouchDesigner and to answer the question about why you do things in TouchDesigner is that you can just do things efficiently. It renders on the spot. You can be interactive with it. Unlike Unreal or Unity, you don't need to compile it to run it. You can actually change things on the fly. You can make VR experiences in TouchDesigner, and someone can be in the headset, and you can be modifying things while they're in the headset, which means that you can iterate so fast. And I basically see TouchDesigner as a way to like build prototypes, build installations that are on site, as in things that would be connected to sensors, but also a way of like learning how to use programmatic, problem solving to build things. Okay, I think I'm going on too long. Any other questions?
How did you do those particles?
Oh, those particles there? Those guys? So those, P. Another note about performance stuff. One thing that really fucks up your performance is adaptive homing. So if you have anything that has adaptive homing on it, it will try to basically center it all the time. And that really takes a lot of CPU. So if you turn off adaptive homing, you can see it, and it won't be like trying to. It's good that it's there because sometimes you have things that are just way far out and you can't see them, and you're like, this is broken. Okay, so this is basically very simple. I've got a sphere, and the sphere I'm sorting random. And what that means, that changes where the particle emits from. For example, if I block that, then you'll see that they actually emit in this order. And what it's doing is it's emitting from the point number. So if you were to go here and go view and then go into view options, display options. I don't know if you guys know about this. Display options, well, you can turn on, you can see the points, you can see the point numbers, you can see the normals, you can see the UVs, you can see, I don't know what the hell that is.
You could like throw an arbitrary mesh in there and it would just spit those out like based on the topology, right?
Yeah, the way that this file is saved, each of those points has a number. Like if you were to take an OBJ file and open up the text editor, it would basically be like, point 213 is at this XYZ coordinate. And then you could change it and save it. So what it's doing is it's basically going through each of those different points in order and then emitting a particle from there. So in order to have it be random, you have to sort it. And you could change the sorting. You could be like, do it by X, so now it's going to swipe through it by the X coordinate. You could do it by how close it is to a point, and you could define that point. You could do it by distance to an object. So anyway, did that. So now we're emitting particles, and then here's the secret. You emit particles from the particles. So,
that's what makes it seem more like voids, is because they're like following each other because they're emitting each other.
So these are actually not the ones that we see in the thing, but that's what makes it wormy. Huh? What was that?
Show us those other particles.
Okay.
That look like voids, they say aren't voids.
These ones, I just turn the drag up really high, so which basically means that when the particles emit from the moving particle, they stay where they are. Whoa. Okay. Too much drag. Such a drag. Okay. Here we go. There's a situation in which adaptive homing is kind of nice. Coming in. Okay, it's whoa, okay. We are now orbiting the particle system. Okay, these are the other ones. Fish. So fish, same deal. The things sort them, I emit them from here. And then Okay. Yeah, nothing from here. It's got a couple things going on. It's got, what's it got going on? It's got a force, which is what's attracting them, which you can't really see. It's got a collider, so it can't go inside of the sphere. And then I have this little component that I built, which basically takes the life span of each particle and then does like a fraction of it, so that you can get what percentage of its lifetime is it. And the reason I do that is so that, I don't know if you could tell, but when the particles come in, they're small, and they grow, and they get small again. That way you can never see them popping on or off. So yeah, these, I don't know if these are technically voids, because the only thing that's changing their movement is that they have a turbulence field to them. So I think a void would be distinct from it, because they would basically know how close they are to other voids, and then they'd push away, or they'd basically follow each other. But these guys are more like they're all being moved with the same wind, in a way. So you can see they're all just being pushed around, and that's why you get these kind of emergent structures like that. Okay. All right, I'm calling it. Any other questions?
It reminds me of raindrops on windshields.
Ooh. Oh, the
little guys.
All around?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's floaties. Yeah. I like it. Nice. All right. Okay. That's it. Speaking of raindrops, let's listen to raindrops. And that's all. Thank you very much. And yeah, we can hang out for as long as we want. Just hang out and listen to music.
Go plug the show.
Huh?
Friday.
Oh yeah. You wanna plug it?
You wanna plug it?
Oh, you plug it, bro.
So Friday, audiovisual show at the deli. There's a poster.
Where is it, the poster?
I think it's already been.
On Blue Sky.
Retweeted it.
There we go. It's gonna be a lot of fun if you're into AV and weird stuff. It's gonna be weird.
Cool. Yeah.
Are you gonna link to the tickets in the external events?
Yeah. In the Discord and external events. If you go to the RA page, okay, go up a little bit. Okay, and then there's a link right above, tickets and full details. Maybe
Right here.
click on that guy. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. So
Oh,
cool.
we have 41 interested. Holy shit.
I'll be there.
That's more than there was earlier.
Yeah.
I do like.
We love
Number go up. And if anyone doesn't have the Discord, then it should be sent out soon, I think.
It's also linked in our Instagram. So
And it's in our Instagram as well, and soon to be our Blue Sky. Okay, nice. Let's hang out.
Johnny, can you put the Discord invite into the registration? You know when you register for the events?
Yeah.
There's like confirmation registration.
That's a good idea. That's a very good idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of social media.
You want to get rid of all social media?
I want to kill it, man. Yeah.
What if it's a good social media?
I know. Well, is it that it will become a bad? I don't know. My faith right now in social media is very low.
I feel the same way.
I like the real life stuff. I'm like, this is more important. But I hate that. But I get it. The difficulty of communication is big now.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
You less appealing once you get to peeling back all these truths. That's a lie. Still in the back of black coops. They peeling caps in the streets. But shorty just popping wheelies, not bulletproof. Hit this helium. I'm straight past your ceiling like fuck the roof, and I'm healing them. Just straight penicillin out the syringe. Sealing the joint with lemon cushion. Jasmine blends the bride and groom. Seal territory in these waters. Fuck a Heidi Klum. Fuck a tidy room. It's dirty in these streets. Out my window I can see it. Niggas searching for defeat. Out my window I can see my people's pain. Though they blend in with the rain. Shit is getting old, niggas grinding for the gold. Ain't really no gold, he just shining for the hoes. She got her ass out, she just trying to get chose. All the other folks, ginger rough for one of those. Ginger rough for Look at my city and tell me that shit look pretty. The south side is like a blemish, like country breakfast, it's gritty. Peep, we moving with purpose, the petty only get pity. Peep the proof of the purchase, I barely pushing them pennies. I've been doing it for free. My nigga, shout your link card, I'm just out here trying to free. My niggas, the shit is getting old and they coming for your gold. Thick socks for your soul, I would never wish you pain. Shoulders getting cold like the winter when it snows. So I'm here for your tears, I forever wish you rain, rain, rain. Out my window, I can see my people bang. Never tears, though they blend in with the rain. Shit is getting old, niggas grinding for the gold. Ain't really no goals, he just shining for the O. It's my window, I can't stand the rain.
you're so sexy, the way you move your body up and down. I wanna tell you how beautiful you are, but you're nowhere to be found. Hey, I tried to protect you from my hands, you left you. Broke my heart right there. All I do is stare, no, you never fucking care. I thought you were different, telling me what isn't. I was wrong. I never thought of you as ignorant. Now I'm getting lifted, you're in my soul. Baby, I'm about
good night. Good night, everybody. Goodbye.